Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Mark Chahansky, and I am doing my video for my final project for CS50 Introduction to Python Programming. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring up my title page here, and this is the first one here. So this is what we have. I've created this Python org chart creator. And I'm going to walk you through basically what the uh, application does. So I have my um, interface here where um, stop sharing. Shared. So this is my online VS Code environment that they provide you in the class. And I wanted to do, it was very refreshing to come back and do some of the basics in Python. And I was trying to think of something that I was working on, and somebody had asked me, "Hey, can we create an org chart?" And this does it very quickly in Python and creates a graphic very quickly without a lot of drawing and everything. So I'm just going to walk briefly through what it does. It uses the argument parser. It uses a CSV file to create as the data for the file, and then uses some other helper functions here as well. So the first function we have is does some simple HTML escapes, and then the next function here detects cycles around the directed graph using DFS and classic color algorithm. So it makes sure that the not only that, but the structure is correct. I then did a function that defines and parses the command line arguments that builds the actual org chart from the CSV file. And then I have the actual function that builds the tree, and it parses the rows and it returns the children. It also checks for the various cycles. So a cycle will be created by the number of lines that you put in the CSV file. And then eventually I get down here where I can also, you'll see there's a former run that's down here, but basically I can do an output in either an SVG or an ASCII or both. So that's what this one does. It renders an ASCII org chart. And then this is the SVG rendering. So it renders it as an SVG graphic. And then the this one does the positions of the nodes based on how many children you have and the layout of the tree. And then you could see here that eventually it builds the SVG, and then we have the main function calls here. So this was a sample data set that I used to initially test it. And then the main function here calls to those other functions to pull in and actually draw the tree. So we'll come down here. I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this older one here that I had done. And you could see here is my org chart or my CSV file that I'm going to use. So you can see the layout is basically name, title, manager. You have the top person that doesn't have a manager. That's one of the um, features or one of the requirements there, that there's no, for the top level person, there's no manager. And then very, very simple. If you've ever done an org chart, it's very simple. So it's basically the person, what their title is, and then who they report to. And that's what it will use. And it'll go through, and I mentioned the children and the cycles, and it'll go through essentially for each line. So all I have to do to run that basically, the command line, using the command line interface, and I'm going to go ahead and run number one here, and I'll show you the improvement that I made. But when I run it, basically, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to call Python. I'll call the script. The input is going to be that org chart, the CSV file. I'm going to output to both ASCII and to the SVG, and the output's going to be the org chart SVG. So when I run this, you can see now I get here's my ASCII version over here. Again, very simple. Sometimes what you might do is you might turn off the SVG until you get this to look like you want it. But that just gives you a quick view. And then over here, it created the graphic that you can see. And when I did this, I was like, okay, very simple. It's easy to do. I only tested it to this many levels. But for example, I didn't like the fact that the text really here did not wrap. So I went back and I did some reprogramming to look at and did some research on the trimming and how to colo or locate the title to be able to wrap the text. And that's essentially, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Um, but that's what this project two did was I redid this function here where the render was a little bit different. Change the file around to be able to wrap the text. So now when I run that, which you'll see here now when I run project two, and when I look at the org chart, you can see now that my text is now wrapped. So again, I would just wanted to do an iteration of improvement. You can see that now essentially what it does. Yeah, so again, great little exercise. Interesting to go back and learn some of the Python basics.